Good morning, people. Welcome to newspaper Manthan classes of Success Tree IAS. Today's class is regarding discussion of GS Mains Paper 2 that was conducted by UPSC Civil Service examination this year. So it is 2016 GS Mains Paper 2 discussion for today's class. If you like our video, subscribe to our channel, hit like and comment on the comment section given below. You can ask certain additional doubts if you wish to have on the comment section. So here we go. The first question in paper 2 that was asked in this year GS Mains, that discuss the essentials of 69th Constitutional Amendment Act and anomalies, if any, that have led to recent reported conflicts between the elected representatives and the institution of LG in the administration of Delhi. Do you think that this will give rise to a new trend in the functioning of Indian federal politics? Well, this question was asked because of its relevance, as it had been in news from the last couple of years since this present Delhi government came into power, because of a tussle with center, and that was manifested through CM-LG conflicts. So, approach should be first go part by part. The first part discuss about or ask to discuss about 69th Constitutional Amendment Act. Then anomalies, if there are any, that have led to these kind of conflicts. And third part is the last one, that is whether it will give rise to a new trend in Indian federal politics. So basically this question is three parts. So it means answer each and every part. Don't try to extend one part in a too detail and you miss out any other part. So every proportionately you need to answer these kind of questions. So 69th Constitutional Amendment Act, it brought state legislative assemblies, that is Vidhan Sabha, in the Union Territory of Delhi. So it means what? Despite Delhi being a UT, some special status was created for Delhi in terms of having a Vidhan Sabha. So it means having Vidhan Sabha, it means the assembly will be represented by the representatives of the people, that is MLAs, and they will form, the majority party will form the government. So it means Delhi government to be run by Council of Minister headed by the Chief Minister. So this means that on one side, CM of a government has so much powers in other states and so many functions as well in states, definitely. But here Delhi is not a state. We need to understand this thing, and this is what Delhi High Court judgment also said about this. So it didn't create Delhi as a state. This is you need to understand. So what is the anomaly? This is the anomaly. If you look for anomaly that has been created by 69th Constitutional Amendment Act, if any say. So even if there is anomaly, this is anomaly to some extent. What? Though Delhi has Vidhan Sabha, it has elected representatives in terms of Council of Ministers, right? The MLAs and government to be run by Council of Ministers. But still, Delhi remains Union Territory. It means still center has supreme powers. So it creates the conflict among the two institutions. Which two institutions? Say LG as being representing the central government, and Council of Ministers. So this is how you need to initiate and try to show why there is conflict, because you need to, what is the conflict that you said? What LG is doing, what CM is doing, but why this conflict is there? So you have to find out the constitutional reasons for that. So these are the basic constitutional reasons. Then there is one article 239 AA. So this article 239 AA in the constitution gives powers of say land, public order and police to center, right? So it means this public order, police and land, these doesn't fall under state, say Union Territory of Delhi. So again another area of conflict. Why? Because in generally in states what happens? These are the subjects of state, right? But as Delhi being say ruled by the government, elected government, but still these areas doesn't fall under it. So it obstructs the administration, effective governance. So UT keeps say Delhi government keeps on claiming these areas. Say we need police, we need public order, we need land under our subjects for effective functioning of the government. So this is another area of conflict, right? Then you can discuss what you were saying, what how LG is functioning, how CM is functioning, but these should be backed by the constitution provisions. In the same way, GNCT Act, National Capital Territory Act, GNCT Act, it also gives these powers to center. So what are the major provisions that you need to discuss? What is 69th Constitution Amendment Act? Then Article 239 AA and GNCT Act. Right? These are the major provisions you need to discuss that will fetch you marks, because else what you are saying everybody will write those. Then read question further. It says what? These conflicts, we have discussed the conflicts, what are the conflicts and why these conflicts have arisen. It says, do you think that this will give rise to a new trend in the functioning of Indian federal politics? This is another part of the question. Now try to answer this part. So Vibhu, बताइए.
Yes, sir. With these conflict arising, people will be inclined to left the same party which is at the center.
Sorry.
Yes, it will give rise to a new trend. Basically, because people will be with conflict arising, people will be inclined to elect the same party which is at the center.
Okay.
Basically, it is against the democracy principle.
You get the question paper.
Yeah. Basically, it is against the democracy principle, and moreover, state elections and central elections are not held simultaneously. So, so basically, whichever government is elected, if the central government changes and the state government, the Delhi government remains.
So your point is that you will try to elect the same government in the both, but still
this conflict will arise.
Yes, it can happen definitely. That people see that government is not functioning well because of this conflict. So why not to have the same government, say in UT of Delhi as well as in central? Yes, Akshay. What's your name? Okay. You read the question. We are doing the first question. आप बताइए साहिल. Okay, see. Okay, how do you see this conflict? Is it justified what center is doing? It is justified as per the constitution. Center is still working LG is still working within the framework of constitution, by the constitution provisions, by these provisions, right? Even Delhi High Court mentioned the case. Yes, another thing that we need to mention is Delhi High Court decision. You remember Delhi government went to High Court regarding this dispute, conflict, and Delhi High Court gave decision in favor of LG. It says Delhi is not a state; it's a union territory, and LG is functioning within the legal provisions, within the constitutional provisions. So another thing you need to mention to back your argument. So what I mean to say, though center or say LG is working within the constitutional provisions, but it gives a wrong message. Because ultimately who are the sufferers? The people. Because the governance is not functioning, governance is not happening. So one thing is it gives a wrong message, wrong signal to the people directly. Secondly, it could translate into the same kind of conflict in other states as well. And it's happening. Give example of Uttarakhand, give example of Arunachal Pradesh. How center, through its agent, who is the agent of center in state? Governor. Right? How center tries to undermine the state government by imposing presidential rule. So give those examples. So because it says what? Do you think that this will give rise to a new trend in the functioning of Indian federal politics? Means you have to discuss the center-state relations. Are you getting my point? So this could be replicated in other state functioning, in the center-state relation in other states as well. So give those arguments, give those examples, and also give the, say, once center tries to do this, then we will give argument in against this. Why this could not give a, say, this kind of new trend. Another argument you can say, this conflict has heightened to the new level, coming to roads, right, and dragging center to court, even verbally. Every other day you find, say, Delhi CM or other minister, other representatives speak against the central government for various issues. We haven't seen, there has been conflict with other states as well, but this intensity we had not seen before. Are able to understand this thing? So it means what? It is undermining the institutional mechanism to resolve the disputes. What are the institutional mechanisms? Earlier it was NDC, Interstate Council, now Niti Aayog. There could be various institutional mechanisms where center-state conflict could be resolved. Interstate Council is there, Niti Aayog is there, various mechanisms are there. And they are coming directly verbally and in courts as well. So this could be replicated, this could start a new trend with other states as well, doing the same thing. For example, if Bihar starts, now it's claiming the special status, right? If it claim the special status in the same way, with the same intensity how Delhi is doing, coming to roads and doing protests and each and everything, and also every other day speaking against the PM or say against the central government to claim the status. So that is not the right way to resolve the disputes or resolve or say to claim what one deserves. There are institutional mechanisms are in setup. Why not resort to those? So this could start this new trend as well. Then your answer doesn't end here itself, because your question should be balanced. There is other way, other view as well of this new trend. Why it won't start a new trend? First you give argument why new trend can be started or what new trend can be started. Then you write one or two lines why this could not start a new trend. You could say that Constitution is supreme in our country and center is working within the provisions of Constitution. Right? Even in Delhi, whatever is happening, the LG is working within the Constitution framework. Right? And when we see center tries to undermine state government in Arunachal or Uttarakhand, right, by using unconstitutional ways, then judiciary is there. Judiciary revoked the decision and reinstated the government in Uttarakhand, isn't it? So judiciary is safeguarding the federal structure. Federal structure is the basic feature of the constitution. Write this thing, right? Once it is the basic feature of the constitution, if any house and it tries to undermine the federal structure, judiciary is there, Supreme Court is there to safeguard that. So this may not give start to a new trend. This is your argument against this. Then you conclude the answer. Okay, what should be there? In conclusion, you try to give suggestion or you try to just conclude in a positive way that there should be not the conflict but more and more cooperation that is in the best interest of the people and nation, and realize cooperative federalism actuality and doesn't mere remain a rhetoric. Something like this, you can frame your own conclusion by any way. Are you able to understand our discussion? So what my point is, once you attempt the question, first write in context. Try to get, it's a question of polity part. Give some constitution or some legal basis for your answer. And try to see the different parts of the question. You may end up writing just only one part of the question. You do, by your own self, you need to differentiate what are different parts, and within those parts, what can be the both sides, right? This side, positive side, negative side. Show both sides, and then take stand as per the question demands and as per your own understanding. How this could happen? This won't happen overnight. You need to practice. More practice than reading. More attempting the question than studying. Because once you write the answer, you try to apply your mind. Then you see, no, I'm missing. Then you realize to improve that I'm not interpreting correctly. Then you say, I missed the various dimensions of this question. So this is how slowly and slowly you improve, and ultimately. Now come to the next question. Read the next question and try to give outline to your answer. Don't write the whole answer. We don't have much time for you guys. That's why I wanted you to attempt paper in advance. Just write the keywords.
Second question.
Yes, second question. Yes, Vibhu.
Sir, Article 370 basically gave the right to Jammu and Kashmir to have their own constitution. Central laws cannot apply to Jammu and Kashmir unless approved by Jammu and Kashmir Legislative Assembly.
Correct.
To abolish or change it, Constituent Assembly of JK is required, which currently has dissolved. Basically, it is not
Correct.
present. So basically, for future integration, it will not be possible without changing some provisions regarding temporary of it. Basically, it originally India agreed to a referendum, but today's demography has changed to support the referendum originally agreed.
Right. So, what's the stand that bearing the marginal or temporary provision with respect to state of Jammu and Kashmir temporary? So, what's your stand on this? Because it's directly asking. You discuss, then you take a stand.
Sir, apart from this it was temporary when it was originally drafted,
Yes.
but because no action was taken simultaneously over it when it was drafted, when it was incorporated in the Constitution of India. So currently, it has become a one type of permanent feature.
Right. And this is the future prospect. So you're saying it is relatively somehow this temporary.
Integration will not be possible without changing some of it.
Right. Very good understanding of this Article 370 and this issue. This is what you need, how you need to structure this answer. First, write a couple of lines about Article 370, what Article 370 provisions are. Right. So you discuss correctly about it, that the central laws are not applicable to state unless uh, concurrence been given by the Jammu and Kashmir Assembly. Even any constitution amendment that doesn't directly automatically apply to Jammu and Kashmir, right? It has a separate constitution, right? So you're not supposed to write these in details because it's not asking directly the provisions in details. Just give the provisions. Say in introduction itself, you can give the provisions. Then directly come to the core demand of the question. Now read the question. It says, to what extent is Article 370 of Indian Constitution bearing marginal note temporary provision with respect to state of Jammu and Kashmir temporary? So it says, because this Article 370, it has the this context temporary provision with respect to Jammu and Kashmir. So it want to ask how, to what extent it is temporary. So is it temporary? Can it be revoked, or can't it be revoked? So this is how you need to discuss both ways. So how Article 370 can be revoked? It can be removed from our constitution by Constitution Amendment Act, right? But Article 370 itself has its own safeguard, that it has to be given concurrence by the Constituent Assembly. Now there is no Constituent Assembly in Jammu and Kashmir. So
Article 370 itself says if Article 370 will be repealed, then automatically Article 1 will be ineffective.
Sorry, come again.
If Article 370 is repealed from the Constitution, then ultimately Article 1 is also repealed from the Constitution.
Article 1 is India Union States. How India being Union States be repealed? And even this is not a demand of the question, even if it is there. I don't have concurrence with this provision, what you are saying, because Article 1 is India is Union of States, right? So India will remain Union of States whether Article 370 remains or not. So India will remain Union of States whether any other article is there or not. And it won't, India remain Union of States, it won't depend on, say, temporary provision, say, Jammu and Kashmir, this on Article 370. And secondly, it's not demand of the question. So try to answer in the context. So it can be repealed, Article 370, but it has to be given concurrence by the Vidhan Sabha of Jammu and Kashmir, by the Constituent Assembly. Now, how Constituent Assembly can be constituted? It can be constituted, but it has to be constituted by the Vidhan Sabha, right? So when Vidhan Sabha of Jammu and Kashmir agrees, then only you can say, take a stand that this Article 370 can be repealed. So it depends upon the Jammu and Kashmir State Legislative Assembly to constitute a Constituent Assembly, and then it gives the concurrence to revoke this article. But it seems improbable, then you take a stand over it. Even give the judgments of Jammu and Kashmir High Court, judgment of Supreme Court as well. So Jammu and Kashmir High Court also said it appears this temporary provisions has attained some relative permanence. And this is your stand as well, as per our understanding. And Supreme Court said that only Parliament can take a call on scrapping Article 370. But how it will be done? Again, concurrence of Constituent Assembly. So what are the future prospects? Future prospect of this provision in context of Indian polity? So it appears that it will remain unless Jammu and Kashmir Vidhan Sabha gives, yeah. So this is how you need to just give your arguments in favor and against and take a stand. So try to give backing by Delhi High Court judgment, Supreme Court judgment, Article 370 provisions, Article 368 that could be used to do this, Constituent Assembly provision, role of Jammu and Kashmir Vidhan Sabha in that, and you then conclude the answer. Even you can give argument just to give another dimension to your answer, that even Article 370, if it implemented in a very fair and transparent manner, then it gives sufficient powers to Jammu and Kashmir to resolve their own internal conflicts and to help in the nation building process rather than in the obstruction. So it could be seen in positive way as well, rather than every other time, because Article 370 generally it gives a negative connotation in minds of people. That's why demand comes out to repeal this article. So try to add this dimension as well, that how Article 370 can help Jammu and Kashmir to flourish and help in the national integration rather than in the division. are able to satisfy with our arguments, right? Read the question third. And see, another point, our this discussion will be fruitful only if you have the basic knowledge. Otherwise, you won't be able to appreciate our arguments as well. So once you have gone through the Lakshmikant polity multiple times, once you are able to understand the various issues coming in the articles, editorials and all, then only you're able to appreciate the arguments that you are discussing in this class. Now read the third question. Yes, you start the answer. Your name again? Utkrishт, बताइए. What would be your main arguments in this question? The Indian party system is passing through a phase of transition which looks to be full of contradictions and paradoxes. Discuss. Yes, Vibhu.
So basically, I can start with. Basically, it was supposed to be based on democratic principles, provide leadership based on skills and knowledge. But today, it has become a party system has become a family profession. Like you can give example as PS, Marwadi Party, and others.
Correct.
Second, the multi-party system was created to provide various options to elect leaders. It will also opposition was supposed to provide a healthy debate in the parliament, but today there is a washout in the recent Rajya Sabha. This winter session can be seen, and so currently 2 points of the.
Good points. These points are to be included. Very good points these are. So his first point is that if I just say in different words, though, so you need to showcase the contradictions and paradoxes. You need to fulfill the demand of the question. So in different words, I just say the same point, that though parties, they represent the democracy, right? They are part and parcel of democracy. But you don't find internal democracy within the parties. How the decisions are taken within party. These are taken by the top leaders. It's not a democratic process within party itself. Right? Certain leaders at top, they decide. Certain families at top, they decide. Rather than, so it's a paradox. On one side, it represents democracy, but there is no democracy within the party functioning. Then coalition, multi-party, uh, so it was supposed to represent, say, give the diversity or say uh, representation to the diverse interest at the power. But actually, again, how these are being ruled by the families only there. Say SAPA, BSP, right? So certain leaders there. Then certain other important points we need to appreciate in this question. So in India is what? First past post. First past the post way how the elections are held. Right? So wherever the first past the post election system is there, there in those countries generally it has come to two parties basically. See the Western countries in US or other countries. But in India we have the first past the post, but we have the multi-party system. So here we show the paradox, contradiction between India and other countries despite using the same system of election. Are you able to understand, Utkarsh? Thirdly, you can show the paradox, say, in center, the basic, if you see the major parties, now there are different parties, say NDA, it's a mix of many different parties, UPA, right? So there are many different parties are there, multi-parties are there. But you see the major states, say UP, ruled by SAPA or BSP, Bihar, West Bengal, TMC or say left, Tamil Nadu, DMK, AIDMK, right? Kerala, left. So there is multi-party at center, but one of two-party system has developed in the major states. So it's a paradox again. So we are showing the paradox at different levels, right? In my earlier point, you can give the argument we said about first past the post. Generally, where the proportional representation is there you find the multi-party system has more chances to flourish. I believe you understand this point. Proportional representation, right? Because in proportional representation, you even the minority representation you'll find, even there is small section of people, they will also have the representation among the representatives. So there are more chances of multi-party system to be developed, right? But in India, despite we don't have this proportional representation, we have the first past the post system, but still there has multi-party system has been developed. Okay, just take your time. I'm seeing some blank faces. Utkarsh, what happened?
Fine, sir.
Fine, able to understand this point, right?
So can we add whip point in this whip system?
Justify your point.
For justification.
I'm saying
but it won't will it not go against that we are arguing against the constitution, what constitution has provided to us.
See, whip, you're saying, trying to say again, whip is impeding the internal democracy.
Yes, sir.
In what way you want to use the whip? That I want to ask you.
Sir, basically that it kills a democracy that
within the party.
The leaders are there in parliament to represent people, but if they cannot go against the party,
so
what will?
Even this argument will come in the same point of internal democracy within the parties.
So that what I want to ask is, will not it, if we are quoting that, will it not go against the?
No. You're justifying it. Even there are certain provisions in the constitution that need the reforms, that need the certain amendments. Right? You're not going against constitution. You're writing certain things and you're justifying it. So you can write it. And whips are a sense of evolution. It has not been there from the start of the constitution there. So these are major 4 or 5 points that we discussed. Another point or paradox, contradiction that you can showcase.
The today elections are for the rather than based on ideology, it is fought on the name.
Sorry?
Election is expected to fought on the base of the ideology, but today is fought on the base of personality current.
Yeah, definitely. Write these points. Okay, what else we can discuss? That in the post-colonial era, when decolonization happened, many new countries got free out of the colonial rules. In most of the countries, what happened, see in Africa or in Asia, many of the countries they got converted into either dictatorship initially, or in say one-party system, or maximum two-party system. But generally, India has come out as a multi-party system, even among the so here you are comparing, showing the contradiction with other countries post decolonization. So how many points we have done? Around 4 or 5 points.
6.
Right? Then see, we can further write. Though parties, they say what? They say we are promoting transparency, we are promoting, we are doing this and that. So they claim something this, but they do something different. How? They oppose to come under RTI. Right? And CIC when said political parties also come under RTI, but they all the parties they stood together against this. Political parties, they say we promote democracy, we work for the people, right? And but how they mobilize the people while election? They mobilize people on the base of caste, on the base of religion. It could, at certain time, could lead to communal violence as well. Communal rights as well also happen because of this uh, identity politics. So again, there is contradiction, paradox. They do say something and do something different. Then you could also say, they say we give representation to all sections of people, but you don't find representation of women. You see, within the parties, how many women are there? What percentage of women are there? So again, it is not. They say they go for say inclusive. Their approach in manifesto say what? Inclusive growth, inclusive politics. But there is no inclusive politics within the parties themselves. There is no representation of women within the parties or other deprived sections of people. Certain parties represent higher caste, certain parties represent lower caste.
Even though the elected members are also directed by high command of the party.
Yes, yes. So
They don't have their
correct.
own.
So that is how we discussed in the first point, internal democracy within the party. So there are certain people at helm of party power, they decide each and everything. So around 7 8 points I think we have covered up. So even though you miss a couple of points, still you can write a very beautiful answer of this question. Come to next question. Yes, Akshay, read the question and tell your points. The question is, exercise of tax power in relation to accounts of union and states is derived from Article 149 of Indian Constitution. Discuss whether audit of government's policy implementation could amount to overstepping its own, that is tax jurisdiction.
I did not attempt this question.
Utkarsh,
First of all, tag is friend, philosopher, and guide to the government.
to the
To the government.
who said this? To PAC.
And
PAC is not government, right?
audit of CAG is not binding to the PSC,
To the
PSC or government. Whatever.
here to the government. So don't mix up the things. PEC is a committee only that helps Parliament to understand the tax report. That's it. Right? Now, you could say this tax report is not binding on the government.
It is just suggestive in nature.
Correct. So, understand the question, try to justify. Yes, Vigu.
Sir, first, a constitution divided basically it created three parts: executive, legislative, judicial. Legislative was given the role of policy formulation, and executive the policy implementation. It will be an overstepping, yes, because first is it an executive role. Second, all policies are not framed to achieve monetary returns, and basically audit you can do of what is available in rupee terms, or what is available in rupee terms or in monetary returns. And moreover, this it will also not be feasible for CAG to go. It doesn't have sufficient manpower and sufficient capability to go after each and every policy of the center or state. And reports are only suggestive, so even if it is against the government, they will simply discard it.
So, what's the stand? Is it?
Yeah, it will be overstepping.
It would be overstepping.
The policy of execution, if we are procuring something in government institutions.
It could be anything, policy implementation. There could be different policies in their implementation.
If each and everything is under the purview of CAG, then it will not be possible to procure.
Okay. Good points we have included, but not all points we need to just give into. First, discuss about what CAG jurisdiction is. Then only you can decide whether it is overstepping or not. Right? What CAG is provided in the Constitution, for what purpose? So CAG does what? It audits the account of union and state governments. So this is the basic purpose of CAG. Now by auditing the accounts, because policy implementation, how CAG will audit? Only through the accounts only. That how much fund was sanctioned, how much fund was used, is there any discrepancy, or is the fund being sanctioned without the appropriate authority, without the proper, say, parliamentary approval or not? Like, are you getting my point? So this is how CAG would do because here they didn't say audit of the accounts, they say audit of government policy implementation. So first you need to define your area, how CAG can audit the policy implementation. It can do the policy audit of policy implementation just by auditing the accounts and bringing the discrepancy in the funds, right? And this power is given by the Constitution. Audit of the accounts is given by the Constitution. This is under the provisions Article 148 to 151. Then where the overstepping comes, or how CAG can impede governance? This is where you said about a couple of points you told, right? What else you can add?
the nature of auditing. Actually,
Yes,
in second
correct.
year, we had discussed maybe like output or outcome based. In the outcome based, means that not a tangible things he can see. He can means in that particular context he can overstep. Like he can itself question
Correct.
the intention of the policy.
That is the point that you need to mention. So CAG does.
Had this policy been implemented in this way, then this
Correct,
would be the
correct.
expenditure and this would be the
Very much correct. So this is what the question demands. When CAG questions the wisdom behind the decision, right? Then where the problem starts. So it does the discretionary audit. The discretionary audit as per the discretion of the CAG. So when it does the discretionary audit, then where the problem comes. What happens in discretionary audit? We are doing this question number 4. So there it questions the wisdom directly behind the decision taken by the any of the government officer.
the same
So
thing.
say if this policy had been implemented like this, it would have resulted a better result. Where see, we're auditing after say a couple of years. The situation, the condition were different at that period of time. Now there are more information available at disposal, at your hand. Now you can take a better decision. Anybody could have taken. So this is where how it could amount to overstepping. Are you able to appreciate this argument? Very nice point, Sai. Excellent. But still, what the final stand you could take? CAG has done so much wonderful things. It actually ensures financial accountability of the executive towards parliament. So this is a major purpose what the CAG does. Because by its report it has brought out so many corruption cases as well, 2G scam, Commonwealth scam. Give these examples. That how CSE is important for us. But then executives try to stymie CAG's functioning. What they does? They delay the tabling of CAG report. Right? For example, something happens a couple of years back and they delay the tabling, then actually it reduces the impact. Moreover, they have the majority in the Lok Sabha, right? So even the discussion could be impeded on CAG's report. And finally, what should be there? CAG should also understand its role and understand that it cannot question the wisdom or where. So it need to understand its own limitations and does not impede the uh, effective implementation, because otherwise the bureaucrats would be threatened to take decisions. When every other decision is questioned, yes, they won't bring out some innovative or something very good decisions. They will be very restrictive while taking decisions, and it won't augur well for the governance. Yes.
CAG should also concentrate not only on what is right or what is wrong, but if anything happening wrong, CAG should oppose it very promptly.
Then it will go out of the constitution provisions. See, CAG's functioning is defined within the constitution, right? So I don't support this point of view that opposition. How CAG is
They
a
should take any corrective measures.
how CAG will take the corrective measures? Then it will be executive function. Taking corrective measure is what? Executive function, right? And whenever there is overlapping, it creates problem. Are you getting my point? So CAG is a technical body. It audits the account. That is core area.
This means this question demands CAG should execute within the purview of the constitutional
Everywhere, in every question, you need to be within the constitution, right? Constitution is your framework, how different constitution bodies are working. Our constitution is very beautiful constitution. In most of other countries, generally they demand minorities are not represented. Nepal, say Sri Lanka, Myanmar, right? But what happens in India? The judiciary, everybody says how to defend our constitution because it's so much beautifully framed. Though amendments are required as per change in society, change in demand, needs, and time, but definitely here doesn't require. If every other authority tried to just overstep its own jurisdiction, it will create a chaos. It won't help in better implementation, but will impede the better governance. So here our approach should be CAG to work within the constitution provisions. Understand it? Not to question each and every decision of the executives. It audits the account fairly, transparently. Rest, it is of the parliament to discuss it and to pressurize the executives to take the corrective measures. It's up to people to punish them at time of election or say creates the public pressure because see various scams happened right in the previous government's period. How the people came out against the Delhi government within the streets of Delhi against corruption. So even CAG's report does a very wonderful thing. Discussion happens in parliament. First, PAC simplifies the report, takes out the important points, the wrongdoings or whatever the things. It helps in parliamentarians to understand the report. Discussion happens, debate is covered within the media on a large scale. If anything, something comes up, it shapes the public opinion. Now, government is very much conscious about it. Any of the government would be, because if the public opinion is shaped against it, it would hamper in the various elections. So this is how CAG's report, even though CAG doesn't directly say to government do this or do what, but still it ensures accountability. Not only accountability to parliamentarians, but accountability to people directly as well. Because now people they are able to understand the wrongdoings based on the CAG report. So ultimately, both executives should take seriously the CAG's findings, try to rectify the things, and CAG also to function within its constitution ambit. So take a balanced stand in conclusion. Because ultimately the objective of both executives and CAG is same. Good governance, serve the public interest in the best possible manner. Now come to next question number 5. Just see through question, try to frame key words in your answer. Yes, Sahil. I believe preamble, you know it. Everybody, you start polity with the preamble.
Forgetting words.
It shows how important preamble is. They have directly asked preamble. What's your name?
So Kavi Arasan.
Sorry?
Kavi Arasan.
Kavi Arsan. So, tell your opinion, your points on this question.
First thing is, in a word republic, it is elected leader of the government.
It is? Yeah,
Elected leader of the
correct.
government.
Correct.
Prime
Sorry, you are wrong.
Minister.
Republic doesn't mean this thing. Come again with your point, or I would have misheard it. Elected head of the
State.
state, it is,
Sorry.
not the government.
Sorry. This in some terms it is opposite of monarchy. Monarchy.
I'm able to understand it.
So
So, how India is a republic?
actually, our president,
Yes,
vice
correct.
president, they are elected by elected members of the constituency.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
so,
So, republic means what? Head of the state is elected. In
Head of
India,
the state,
yeah, head of the state is elected. In India, who is head of state? President. So, president is elected. So, we are republic. Now, go further. That's it. Okay, Abhibu.
I've not understood the question. Are they defendable in the
Okay,
or what are the each adjective attached to the republic?
Yes, Utkarsh.
I think republic, my first point is the head of state.
Next, you
And
discussed.
republic means, what I think, the, the motto of constitution should be read the last.
Okay, see,
Just
this is
this.
the first requirement while attempting answer. Understand the context correctly. Else, you may write something else from what is being asked, and you may end up getting half mark, 1 mark, or even 0 mark, even if you don't justify the question. See, read the statement correctly. Discuss each adjective attached to the word republic in the preamble. So how now? Try to remember the preamble. Where the republic is. What preamble says? Anybody remember preamble?
We the people of India.
हाँ तो इतना ही पता है yeah you're correct. We the people of India having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign socialist secular democratic republic. यही है ना यहाँ तक तो ठीक है and to secure all its citizens for equality justice and like this liberty like this but just we stick till republic. What are adjectives? Adjectives which give some say importance attached to that word. Have you done grammar in English grammar? Adjective that signifies something of a word. Now how republic is the last word written. Before republic what is there? Sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic. So what are these? These are adjectives to the word written there, republic, because they gives importance or specifies the importance to the word republic. So it's a more of a grammatical question as well. You need to understand how adjective it want to say.
Can be that in republic freedom, justice, liberty, freedom.
These would be secondary points even if you write these. If you miss these, nothing. आप जो बाद में लिखने वाले हैं justice, liberty, equality, well and good you write those. You remember preamble, write those. But basic major points are these. Because read the question again. Discuss each word attached to the word republic in the preamble. Each adjective attached to the word republic. It didn't say attached to the republic. Even if it had been the directly republic, then also the same answer, but it directly said the word republic. How the word republic is mentioned in preamble and what are adjectives attached to that word. Other points would also come there, but these would be the more specified points, that would fetch you marks.
So we are thinking.
Yes, sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, these things. So this is the first part of the equation. Second part, are they defendable in the present circumstances? This is uh, even more challenging than the first part. How would you just defend it? So say sovereign, anybody would like to speak, or say I should continue? Okay, sovereign, you understand sovereign, right? Our government is sovereign, means it can decide freely, no external interference and all, right? This is sovereignty of the government. But what happens, say, what it says, are they defendable in the present circumstances? Present circumstances means something have changed. Is there any way how sovereignty is undermined? Globalization, MNCs. What happens? MNCs comes and we try to frame our policies according to attract investment or according to the demands of MNCs as well.
To behave like a pressure group.
Right? Yes, correct. So somehow sovereignty is undermined. If there would not have been the, say, these MNCs in globalization, our government would have been more free to decide.
But sir, these
No,
are only instrument in nature. They are only to achieve the aspiration of people.
no,
That's
that
the
is fine. That is fine. I totally agree with that. But I'm just trying to say, ultimately, the last stand would take, these are defendable.
these are in positive way. First
Yeah.
we have to say that they are MNC, they are
Yeah,
international
that's what I'm trying. Maybe you would have misinterpreted my argument. Last, and I will take each and every of these are defendable. But before that, I would generate certain arguments, because otherwise it would be very flat answer. You need to show some dimensions how these words are under trouble. The same way, as for example, various trading blocks, RCP, or say India in any other trading blocks,
UN conventions.
various international organizations, WTO, UN conventions as well. So what happens there? Anyhow, India has to negotiate, need to compromise as well on certain grounds, right? Frame its own policies as per requirements of, say, any trading bloc, RCP, or other, say, as per WTO. Give example of this India US, right? This one, National Solar Mission issue, domestic sourcing clause. WTO gave its decision against India. Are you able to remember or not?
Yes.
Right. So what actually happened? Our sovereignty somehow got undermined because we have now to take decisions as per the WTO. Right. Then you defend it. Now the same argument that is saying these are for the best interest of people and so, and globalization is actually, though somehow it seems to undermine, but actually our government is taking decision by its free will as per best suitable interest of our country and people. So these are defendable. Second, socialist. Socialist, now there was era when socialist brought, uh, socialist wasn't part of our constitution initially, right? Socialist, secular. Though the initial policies they were somehow socialist, definitely initially the government framed the same policies. But now after, say, LPG reforms, privatization, somehow socialist tendencies got undermined. Now we have kind of mixed economy, right? So how you'll defend? So again, you find certain issues in defending socialist word here of preamble. But then again, you defend it. How do you defend it?
Government are concentrating on inclusive growth.
Yes, correct. Still same 12th 5-year plan, 11th 5-year plan, still inclusive growth, right? Still we are trying to, say, reduce inequality, subsidies of the government,
So many government
right?
programs
So
just
correct.
like Manrega.
Yes, correct. So give those examples. So these are defendable. So what you need to say that we should not see socialist as per its literal meaning. We need to see socialist as per, say, changing environment. need and demand of the society, Indian society right now in the current context. So it won't be defendable as per say its literal meaning, socialist. Then would be we are not socialist. But as per say current demand and context of Indian society, Indian people, our country, then definitely it is defendable. Same way secular, then you generate arguments that state interferes some certain times in religious practices as well. It happens, no, right? Even in the say in the politics as well. Communal politics also happens. Hate speech. Even you give examples of these temple entry, say Sabrimala temple and all these, say uniform civil code, right? So when government or say political parties they demand for uniform civil code, it means what? It appears on the pretext that this secular world is under are under threat in the present circumstances. It appears so. Even there were demand from the certain politicians that to remove secular word, secular socialist word. Do you remember last year it happened? Hmm?
Yes.
Right. So certain politician they demanded to remove these words. So it appears these are a threat and they are not defendable. But still, again, take a positive stand. They are defendable. How? Yes. Say the government is working for the welfare of the people, even with uniform civil code, focuses on the say justice to the women of the various religion. ठीक है? Then you give in a positive argument that state whenever state interferes, it is for the welfare of people, for the equality, for justice. Sabrimala temple entry, women, Haji Ali Dargah, give those arguments. In Haji Ali Dargah, na women they have got the entry there. So it is for the equality, right to religion, even like this. The next word is democratic. You can say we have seen there has been increase in voting, right? Democracy third year as well, 73rd, 74th Amendment Act. So democracy, even the democracy has got more deep roots now than before, with the more and more reforms coming in the democratic process. But still, you find money and muscle power used in election, right? Crony capitalism, politico uh, uh, corporate nexus. So then it appears it's not defendable, but ultimately take a stand in a positive way. So this is what actually the question demanded. Right now we come to next question. What was held in the Coelho case? In this context, can you say that judicial review is of key importance amongst the basic features of the Constitution? Take 1 minute time, just try to think it quickly on this question. गेट को खोल दीजिए आप। So बताइए आंसर अपना साहिल।
So in this case, the Supreme Court held that all the legislation after the 1973 that comes under the ninth schedule that enjoys the protection ninth schedule can be questioned while exercising the power of judicial review.
Correct.
And the emergence of the doctrine of basic structure means prior to 1973 all the legislation cannot be challenged, but after 1973 that can be challenged, and even the fundamental rights, even it is placed under the ninth legislation, can be challenged on the ground of.
Correct, good. So this is for the Coelho cases, though it is not a popular case as many people would not have heard about it. Its importance regarding judicial review. Actually, there was a tussle between judiciary and executives at that period of time. You would have seen how the Golaknath case, Keshan and Bharti case, then Minerva Mills case, right? So government comes with certain amendment, try to get more power to amend any part of the constitution, then court comes with another judgment. And with Keshan and Bharti case, it gave doctrine of basic structure, that anything falls in basic structure doctrine that cannot be abrogated by the parliament. So here what happened in this case, with the first amendment act, parliament brought article 31b and said that anything placed in ninth schedule, any laws, any regulation, even though if they threaten the fundamental rights, they cannot be challenged in the court, that they won't fall in the judicial review. Then Supreme Court gave the decision in this Coelho case. It said judicial review is part of the basic structure, right? So if anything, even if those laws, any laws, regulation in ninth schedule, if they abrogate fundamental rights or anything else, the court has the power under judicial review to take decision on those, right? So ultimately, it further strengthens the judicial review power of Supreme Court as it being part of basic structure. So this is what the Coelho case is and its related discussion. I believe you understand judicial review and it doesn't need more of the discussion because it's a very common topic actually.
Tamil Nadu reservation came after 1973.
Sorry?
Tamil Nadu reservation policy came after 1973.
I'm sure about it, but I think it is before that.
Before that.
That was
Yeah.
in the constitution itself.
Yes. Come to next question. Did the Government of India Act 1935 lay down a federal constitution? Discuss. It's a straightforward question. If you know the provisions of this Government of India Act 1935, you can easily do this question. So quickly give your inputs. आप बताइए. Sorry, I forgot your name again. It's right. Kavi. Okay, Kavi बताइए.
It is given. There is a division of power, sir, between central and state.
Correct. So
Sorry, at the time.
three lists it does:
Provinces.
federal, provincial, and concurrent list.
So some of the important things which is necessary for state was held by the center in this section. Now, in our constitution also we have the same thing. And
Yes, I. Ritu. Okay, Utkarsh, anybody? Say, well, we read more this act in history than in polity, right? So we give both sides. First, we say yes, it gives a lay down a federal constitution. How? Then you give the provision that supports your argument. Good point he told. Three lists were given in Government of India Act 1935, and even most major portion of our constitution we took from where? Government of India Act 1935, right? Secondly, it gave provincial autonomy as one of the major provisions. So this is the more important provision. Write this point before, then this point. So provincial autonomy. Before that, there was no autonomy for the provinces, and this act gave provincial autonomy. So provincial autonomy, three list, then bicameral legislature at center. So bicameral legislature is what? It gives representation of states at center. Yes. So these are certain provisions which gives way for federal constitution. Then you say no, there are certain provisions which actually doesn't define it a federal constitution as per Government of India Act 1935. What are those provisions? Emergency provisions under these regulatory powers, then powers of Governor General.
Judiciary.
So Governor General could still interfere, was having vast power still. So these provisions showcase it is not actually.
Strong judiciary.
The judiciary was also not strong, right? So then you take a stand. Though it was much improvement from the previous acts, right? Because before that there was no provincial autonomy even. So it paved way definitely for a federal constitution, and it paved way for as we have the present constitution being taken major part from Government of India 1935. So certain many provisions which signifies our present constitution as federal are taken from those Government of India 1935 Act. But still, it could not be said it was a federal. Why? Because of above arguments. So somehow a balanced stand again. Come to next question. Quasi-judicial body. Explain with the help of concrete examples. What is a quasi-judicial body? Examples. Yes, Kavi. Ego, बताइए.
So they are basically partly judicial. They have partly judicial powers, basically of a civil court. They can force anyone to come for evidence and support, but they cannot give an arrest warrant. And basically
Any examples?
NHRC.
Correct. Good.
CAT.
Yes, correct. Good. CAT.
Armed Forces Tribunal.
Good. Tribunal. Yes. So good examples. So these are major examples. So quasi. Ultimately, the word itself signifies.
Like the powers which are conventionally related to judicial, that would delegated to some bodies.
Okay. See, quasi means ultimately it's not a complete judicial body. So it means certain functions of judicial body are given to quasi-judicial bodies, and there are certain other functions as well that give specialization for a faster decision making, faster say decisions. So they don't ultimately the judicial bodies, they go strictly by rules of procedure, say Evidence Act, CRPC, CAPC, but they can still negotiate. They're not strict. They're not so much strictly bound by those Evidence Act and CRPC like these, right? Moreover, say Supreme Court, what even Supreme Court has power of judicial review, so even it can question the law itself directly, right? A judicial body, for say Supreme Court, can question the law directly as well. But whereas quasi-judicial body can't. It has to work within the ambit of law. So quasi-judicial body has certain powers, like it told of civil court. It can summon any person to appear before it to give evidence. It can ask any document to be uh, produced before it. So like these are certain powers which differentiate quasi-judicial body from the judicial bodies. And there are certain examples: NHRC, National Commission for SC, ST, CAT, ITAT, Income Tax Appellate Tribunal. So various tribunals are quasi-judicial bodies. Why these were introduced? One of the purpose was it gives specialization, right? Expertise and faster decision making, faster decisions. Next is question number 9. Professor Amartya Sen has advocated important reforms in the realms of primary education and primary health care. What are your suggestions to improve their status and performance? So quickly generate your points. बताइए साहिल, you seem to be more relaxed. So it appears you are ready with the points. Utkarsh, start giving points, then more points will automatically generate.
I don't have an idea what Amartya Sen
No,
has said.
it doesn't matter at all even.
But the suggestion to improve the primary
See,
education is.
even this question doesn't ask you what Amartya Sen said. Read the question again. The first is a statement only. It says Amartya Sen has advocated important reforms in the realms of primary education, primary health care. What it asks? It asks in the second statement. What are your suggestions to improve their status? Whom status? Primary education, primary health care, and performance.
Improve the infrastructure.
So means first part, if you know what Professor Amartya Sen said, just write an introduction in 1 or 2 lines. That's it. Even if you don't remember, it is not required even.
Okay, it's not required to write about.
Because see, the first line is the statement. It's not a question. You just give a background to your question. It is not the exact demand of the question. The demand of the question is the second line. That how you can improve the status of primary healthcare and primary education.
By improving infrastructure.
So again, I would say don't start abruptly. What I mean to say, there are two portions: primary healthcare separately, primary education separately. So handle them separately. It will help you to generate more points as well. So let's take primary education first.
First issue dropout. So dropout, a number of cases we've seen the dropouts of girls even, and the government is doing a
Correct. Dropouts.
dropouts.
So you need to address the issue of dropouts. How you need to address? Then give suggestions. What suggestions?
Suggestions.
Do some finance, free uniforms, free food. These are there.
Who is there in midday meal scheme? Then what's new you are suggesting?
Some finance to parents who are sending their children.
See,
So dropout is the cause of social
even if you say
discrimination.
finance, ultimately you need to justify it. It doesn't appear to be justified once you say directly this thing. Unless your argument is justified, it would have no meaning.
So dropouts is because of social discrimination.
Yes?
Discrimination. And second thing
Sorry?
is female droppers because of the no access to toilets. And the government is Swachh Bharat Abhiyan is in the line to improve this.
Correct.
And there is also for mid-day meal scheme. That's the issue of vegetarian and vegetarian.
Girls drop out.
Girls dropouts.
Address girls drop out as separately. This is how you generate more and more points. Dropouts, girls drop out. Say SC ST drop out. Child labor drop out. Within dropout you can generate 4 or 5 points. Then you address them separately. Girls dropout means more inclusive teaching in the schools. Gender equality within schools, teachers training more female teachers, separate toilets for boys and girls, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan that to be implemented. You know Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, then write it to be it should be implemented more effectively. Right? SC ST
Social discrimination.
include disabled as well. So education should be more inclusive. Ultimately, even for the disabled or for say any section, now it doesn't demand a separate classroom. What the demand is, there should be a single classroom, but the teaching should be inclusive. It means teachers training is highly important. It means what? The teacher has to evolve different strategies according to the abilities and demands of the students, because every student has a different ability. Right? So teacher's training is highly important. Teacher need to be more conscious. He or she needs to evolve better strategies specifically for different students in an inclusive environment. We should not segregate say classroom for disabled a different classroom. Then they would remain segregated till the end. We need to include each and every section, say from caste, gender, or ability wise, from the primary education itself. Child labor, again you find, so we have a new act, right? Those, right? Child Labor Amendment Act we have brought, or Parliament has brought this year. So that example will help you to fetch more marks. So that Child Labor Act, Amendment Act has brought the age in line with the Right to Education Act. Now it is there now below 14 years, of which every kind of employment is banned. Earlier it was only in hazardous situation, right? Except say family enterprise and say in the entertainment industry. But still, from earlier to now, it is more in line with the Right to Education Act. Moreover, how you can make this the children from poor families not to drop out. Skill building, or say life skills, imparting the life skill education. Moreover, supporting the families. Now here your point comes, Kavi. You cannot directly financially support each and every family. Even financial support in terms of employment. Say skill building of the parents.
Poverty reduction.
Yes, poverty reduction, right? Subsidy, or need to ensure the various schemes and subsidies are implemented effectively. So you're not starting a separate program for say financing. You are already existing programs are many. So need to integrate within those. So in this way, you need to address primary education to one level. Teachers training and all, and capacity building of teachers, infra capacity building, right? Digital education to improve the access. What else is a start with the ASCR report, right? You know ASCR report? ASCR report 2014. It says what? It says class 5 student is not able to read the text of class 2 student. And even class 5 student is not able to do the simple maths like division, multiplication, like these. So it shows the poor status of primary education, then give your suggestions. So first make a background of this, how state of primary education is so poor in India as per ASCI report. Now this report is given there, though it is given there in so many newspapers it came, but it's there in economic survey, specifically around 5-6 paragraphs on ASCI report is there. This is from where you integrate various points from different books and say your notes. Then one more thing, very important point. See, primary education. How a person, okay, what is the purpose of education?
The child or the person is able to reach his or her own capability.
Correct. Means the child or the student should be able to realize his or her full potential. Because the potential varies. But whatever the potential is, the child or the student realize that to make that person so much capable. This is the basic purpose of education. But what happens actually? The early childhood care is quite much important to ensure to what level the child will realize the potential. Means years before schooling starts even. Because the most important cognitive development happens in the initial years. Even the economic survey says the first 1,000 days. I've read this year economic survey in the chapter of mother and child. What it says, the first 1,000 days are the most important days of both physical and cognitive development. So if in the initial days the nutrition is not given properly, the child will never be able to attain the full potential to send the child to any school. So it's again very highly important. So early childhood care and intervention is very much important. So what to do for that? Better nutrition, care up to both mother as well as child, so that we have the better generation with both physical and mentally capable to face the challenges of present world.
More deworming also.
More
deworming also.
Sorry?
Deworming.
Deworming.
Like now if worms are present in your stomach, whatever.
Oh, worms. Okay, worms.
Deworming in February they celebrate, the government of India policy, but it is once a year. But at least it should be done twice a year.
So what you could do for early childhood care, there is even ICDS, Integrated Child Development Scheme. Now it has been restructured recently in this year, in the past say 5-6 months, to give more focus nutrition to mother and child both. So say ICDS, restructured ICDS should be implemented more effectively, right? So like these you give suggestions. Then you need to improve quality. So we need to ensure the government school function well, right? Right to Education Act should be implemented effectively. That we have the 20-25% quota even within the say private schools, right? That should be implemented effectively. Moreover, improve the infra and capacity building of government schools, because still the major proportion of the rural students go to the government schools and should be within reach as well. Still there are many places where students go to different villages to study. These are certain points, suggestions you could give. There are many points, even if you remember, even if you miss out a couple of them, not gonna matter. Secondly, it's about, okay, what else? Specific schemes also mentioned, right? Because one point would be implement the government schemes of primary education effectively. For example, कौन-कौन सी scheme है वो? So that will give you additional advantage from your counterparts. So what are schemes for primary education? That is how you need to strategically prepare. You should have the scheme and programs not in haphazard manner, but in, say, section manner. Primary education separate schemes, secondary education separate, higher education separate schemes. These are given in India book. So this is how you need to study India book as well. Yes, अब बताइए क्या करें?
MDM,
Mid day meal. What else? Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan, yes. You need to write Right to Education Act, Article 21A. This will give you political backing to your answer.
free books and
वो सारा इन्हीं के अंदर आ गया. आपका सर्व शिक्षा अभियान, राइट एजुकेशन एक्ट में सब दिया गया है. अगर आपको ढंग से इम्प्लीमेंट करा देंगे तो फ्री बुक्स मिलेंगी वहाँ पर. ठीक है. So this is what our objective is. Even you could give this point in the initial when you start your answer of, say, primary education. That Article 21A gives the fundamental right to every student, every children from 6 to 14 years of age group. The Right to Education Act is there, Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan is there, through which this right is to be given. Then the same way you can discuss about, okay, I was talking about certain schemes of, so midday meal, what else? There is Padhe Bharat, Badhe Bharat. What is that? Padhe Bharat, Badhe Bharat. Padhe Bharat, Badhe Bharat. So the scheme, government scheme is for class 2 students. So class 2 students, to make them proficient in communication, comprehension reading, as well as basic maths, numeracy. Specifically primary education class 2, right? Vidyanjali, again for elementary education. Vidyanjali is a volunteer. So it is something program where the volunteers would be included while imparting education. So in fact, involvement of civil society is through Vidyanjali. So include these kind of schemes and say more effective implementation of these would help in improving status of primary education. Same with primary healthcare. So first, just write a couple of lines. Though it has asked suggestions, right? Well and good, we agree. But first, give a present status of our primary healthcare. Right? Okay, I give you a way how you can improve your marks. Even though, for example, in question comes, it says give your suggestions. Both badhiya. In paper 1, there was a question, how urban flooding challenge can be tackled. Suggestions. In one paper, urban flooding was asked twice, paper 1 and paper 3. In one of the paper, they asked only measures. So there will be two kind of the people who will attempt this question. Means two ways you can go with. One way, write what urban flooding is, measures to tackle urban flooding. Second way, first write the causes, reasons. Why urban flooding is so much prevalent now, or what are the reasons behind urban flooding? Right? 5-6 reasons, 7-8 solution measures. So in which way of attempting question get more marks? When you give reasons as well, when you write something extra as well. See, You need to increase your speed for that, because you have to attempt each and every question. And I I tell you the importance of why it will help you to increase marks. It is not a matter of 1 mark. Say this was the question: urban flooding, write measures, but you wrote the causes as well, reasons as well. Why urban flooding? What are the reasons behind that? 6-7 reasons. At least 1 mark will get more. At least one. भाई एक number तो मिलेगा, right? These 1 marks, there are 20 questions. 20 marks difference you would create just by doing this thing. चलो भाई और कम कर लेते हैं, half mark. Still 10 marks more. When you are writing something extra, and this is not something irrelevant, this is something that is improving your answer, because once you are writing measures, first you need to understand why urban flooding is there, then only you can tackle urban flooding or any other question for sake. If it is asked only the reasons, write solution as well, write way forward as well. Every question, it is a make a structure, good structure. Introduction, in each and every question, introduction. Many people say start directly, but I would recommend write introduction. Don't write a huge introduction, only 2 line. Who says you to write 4, 5, 6, 7 line introduction? And don't waste much time in writing introduction. You say, okay, I'll write a very beautiful introduction. There is no need for that. Get the question, understand it, write 2 lines introduction, start your question. Hit the main core of the question in a more profluent manner. Write other arguments as well in both ways, right? Don't give flat answer, give multiple dimensions and justify those both ways. Give suggestion as well, way forward as well, conclude. Even if you follow this structure in each and every question, what I'm saying, you'll get around 10 to 20 marks more. If you're scoring 80 marks, 100 marks. If you're scoring 100, 120 marks. I told you how. Half 1 marks in each question counts and accumulates to give better marks. Even certain times you have lack of space, there is no space for writing, say, way forward. Then within the conclusion itself, you can write the way forward. Right? Even within conclusion, you can write the suggestion. Certain times. So that is how you need to develop the habit of doing this. It won't happen if you directly appear in exam and write answer. You first need to practice. You need to write more and more tests. You write more, you understand more the importance of writing in a good structure. So next go to primary healthcare. So basic problem of very huge out-of-pocket expenditure, right? Give the another issue of non-communicable disease in healthcare, and very and primary healthcare is not equipped to deal with the non-communicable disease properly. And even if you see the non-communicable disease, they take around 40% of the mortalities happening because of health issues are because of non-communicable disease. So these are certain data. This data I got from one of the Yojana, health Yojana. So we'll do Yojanas, you accumulate those points at one go, one way, and that we do by way of our OneNote application. Okay, now how you can improve status of primary healthcare? Many points, same infra capacity building. Many of the doctors are not willing to serve in the rural areas in those. So incentivizing those affordable drugs. So how you can tackle the problem of high out-of-pocket expenditure? You understand out-of-pocket expenditure, right?
Yes.
Yes, it's very high. How you can tackle this? You need to make it affordable. How affordable? Okay, why high out-of-pocket expenditure? Because the government healthcare is not providing quality healthcare to the people, so they are resorting to private, and private charges a lot. That's why it is high, and lack of availability of affordable drugs as well. So in two ways you can tackle this. One way is make the drugs affordable. How you can do that? Jan Aushadhi Yojana. Jan Aushadhi stores the government has brought. Even there is one of the new Amrit, AMRIT. I'm not able to recall the full form of that. Amrit stores that are for uh, life-saving drugs, to make the life-saving drugs more affordable. So Amrit stores, these were started in the month of November last month. Okay. What else? You can start the insurance, health insurance. What's the benefit of this? That now once people are insured, they can go to private as well. So our approach will be two-pronged. One approach is to strengthen the primary healthcare, primary government healthcare. Right? एक तो हमने क्या करना है कि गवर्नमेंट हेल्थ केयर को स्ट्रेंथन करना है. Secondly, even when people approach private, that treatment should be affordable. How it could be done? By insurance, health insurance. So you can tackle these in two ways. Then in the government healthcare, government primary healthcare, you can write so many different points: capacity building, doctors and all, infrastructure building, ठीक है, better training, these incentivizing ASHA workers and ANM. It's a very important role of ASHA workers. Very critical point. Whenever you write primary healthcare, if you miss out ASHA, means you are missing a significant point.
Budget.
Yes, you need to improve the budgetary allocation. Presently around 2%.
Central government passes a regulation of.
Just let me recall how it's 1.07%. So you can say on an average around 1% of budgetary allocation is to the health, right? So whereas it should be around 4%, 3 to 4% should be. Even in draft national health policy, they envisages to increase it to 3%. So very low allocation. So very low allocation to our GDP. So 1% of our GDP.
Doctors to population ratio is so low.
तो वो हमने बात किया डॉक्टर्स, तो डॉक्टर्स के बारे में बात किया, उसी के अंदर आपको लिखना है. बताइए.
Minimum 2 years का internship करने के लिए.
So what I'm saying to you, when we write about doctors, very low numbers of doctors in the rural areas, they're not willing to serve in rural areas. So in the same point itself, write that. ठीक है, एक ही जगह लिखना है, उसको अलग अलग जगह नहीं लिखना है. Come to next question. In the Indian governance system, role of non-state actors has been only marginal. Critically examine this statement. Quickly think over this question. Yes, Vipu.
Sir, first we need to define the non-state actors such as NGO, media, civil society, or people.
Right.
Then we can give with marginal how their role is marginal. Like NGOs, they most of them target issues only important to their fund providers. Media basically they focus on TRPs, not analysis policies are missing.
Right.
And civil society few only oppose whenever they see oppression or the government policy is not being carried out as required. And then we can go for the non-marginal part, that how they are being non-marginal, like NGOs, they still work for the betterment of people, environment, and society. Then with few examples of like NGOs like Satyavani.
Yes.
Okay, and with media also we can say that basically it focuses on, no doubt it focus, TRP is the focus, but they still show where there is a missing attitude provided by the government, or where the executive is lacking in the implementation of the policies. And civil society also similarly.
Very good understanding of the topic. So he has, in a very comprehensive way, he has covered the various non-state actors, civil society, media, right, people in general, pressure groups, interest groups, right.
So we can have positive points also, sir.
बताइए.
Though there is the act has been implemented. At the ground level, it also depends
What has
on
been implemented?
act, sir, act.
Which act?
Say any reform, what
Okay,
reform
okay.
or any, it is implemented by the legislative.
Mhm.
It has to be implemented at the ground level. For this, it depends on people like this.
Yes.
For making positive mindset in the people.
Correct.
Media brings some awareness, positiveness. SNG,
Correct.
because in each and every family, they can form some public opinion.
Very good. So this is how you gain from each other. Even within this small class of 4 to 5 people, you have different opinions. Same question, different ways you attempt it. And this is how peer-to-peer learning happens. You learn from each other. Your minds work differently, right? Your abilities are different. Even your cognitive abilities are different. So this is what actually my point was in inclusive learning, right? Different abilities. Teacher need to understand abilities of different students and encourage peer-to-peer learning. So even you can gain, so whenever other person is telling you, try to understand those points. Very beautiful points. Certain times, many times, the student discuss among each other. काफी अच्छे से बताया. Anything else? Yes, anybody else? Sahil. So you need to cover these points. Very good points. So the question is, in the Indian governance system, role of non-state actors has been only marginal. Critically examine this statement. So though it is critically examined, you need to showcase both. How marginal or how not marginal. How marginal, he has given examples, how media working for TRPs and limited role of NGOs and civil societies. Even certain times they represent the vested interest. Many a time we see that.
Even the intelligence report has said
Yes.
that
Yes.
hampering the development.
Yes, around say 2 to 3% of GDP it hampers. Okay. So these things are there. Even then, at a larger level, see, it says Indian governance system role of non-state actor has been only marginal. Then attempt at two levels: policy making, policy implementation. Because governance happens at both levels. How a good policy will be formed when there is inclusive policy making, means policy inputs are taken from the various civil society groups and people as well directly. How this can happen? You first discuss the draft. Say for example, draft national health policy. It is still in public domain, and people could give inputs to it. So even in policy making, non-state actors has to play a constructive role in that, to represent the interest of the various. So NGOs, civil society, pressure groups, interest groups, all they perform this role. And even common people like you and me, they can directly go to this draft national health policy and can give our own inputs. So this is how we need to make this one-way process into two-way process. right? In the same way, in implementation very important role. It ensures accountability directly to people, right? There are various checks and balance how the various NGOs, and there are certain NGOs on human rights, right? So ensures accountability. They ensures fair play in the implementation, transparency in the implementation. It's because of civil society only RTI came, right? भाई RTI कहाँ से आया? Civil society contribution. So there are many ways you can show. First you show these are marginal, then you show no, it's not marginal, they are still contributing. Then you further say next part of your answer would be how to improve the situation, way forward. Then you can write so many other things how you can improve the situation. So ultimately, involvement of civil society, or you can say people directly, in both policy making, policy implementation. More transparency in the governance system, participatory governance rather than only one way governance. Give example of certain NGOs as well, how they have been functioning. For example, Seva, right? Seva for Women, Enable Academy for Disabled, then Save Life Foundation, this for road safety. So even these organizations, they give the policy help in the policy making, policy inputs. Daisy India Forum, this Daisy India Forum in this helps in the distribution of printed materials to the visually impaired people. So, so this question demands in every, so you're shown the both faces, marginal, not marginal, then show how further the situation can be improved. It also helps in checking corruption, right? So ultimately, in way forward, what we need to do, first of all, government need to bring transparency, more open, more digital governance, e-governance, right? Ensures accountability, checks red tapeism, make government citizen interface more friendly, more citizen centric, roots out corruption, because corruption is a major stumbling block in this, and ultimately empower people by education, by awareness. Because once you empower people, they can directly claim their rights. They can ensure accountability is at full place. So empowering people is key in these kind of questions. When questions about corruption or this kind of question where people involvement is warranted for a better governance. Even when you see why there is low corruption in many of the developed countries, what do you feel the major reason?
People are aware.
Correct. It's
About their own rights and
correct. So it's the empowerment of people that actually,
policies of government also.
yes. So use pressure groups, different words, interest groups, various NGOs, right? Civil society, media, and all these, and their role, and discuss them. And one more suggestion from my side, when you say, because the role of civil society in many questions you need to write. This question specifically about that major role, but in even in other questions, in what I feel most of the topics, many of the topics, you need to involve role of civil society, because no policy can be made or can be implemented effectively without involvement of civil society.
In the most of Naxal areas, where government policies are failed or Naxalite opposing government policy, the self-help group or
Right.
NGOs are
Now,
working very
now
well.
understand my point. What I want to say. One way of writing this is civil society to be involved or civil society to be strengthened, right? Another way is give example. भाई कौन सी NGO है इस फील्ड के अंदर? For example, questions about women, right? Seva. Question about say disables. Then write one NGO working in for the empowerment of disables. For example, Enable Academy. Road safety, very important topic nowadays. There are so many road accidents. Every 4 minutes, one person die in the road accident. Every year, 1,47,000 people die in road accidents within India. It costs around 3% of GDP. Data, very important data. Then give example of NGO as well. Save Life Foundation. Save Life Foundation, that works for the road safety. Nanni Kali for girl education. Then there is Empower People, that is for bride trafficking. Bride trafficking, you understand? Bride trafficking, majorly popular in Haryana. Bride trafficking, low sex ratio, people buy the brides from say Jharkhand, Bihar or Northeast. So Empower People is an NGO working in this field. Daisy India Forum, this is for readable printed materials for visually impaired people. So okay, you'll get all these things. Okay, see, we have compiled these things in our OneNote application. I will tell you how to use that. At one go, you click on that, you'll find all the important NGOs working in different fields. You won't be able to remember those, but once you keep on revising, you'll be able to recall them quickly in just within a couple of seconds. Yes, this NGO working in this field. So which way is more effective? Just writing simple civil society or writing name of NGO as well? Write name of NGO, specific NGO to that particular field. This is how small things, but helps you to improve marks from 3 marks to 6 marks to 7 marks. How you can get 8 marks in 12.5 mark question? Like these things. Data, your argument should be solid. Your concept understanding should be solid. Facts, data to support your arguments. And write something additional than your competitors. If they write suggestion only, you write causes as well. They write only something, then you write way forward as well. Sure. Next question. Effectiveness of the government system. Effectiveness of the government system at various levels and people's participation in the governance system are interdependent. Discuss the relationship in the context of India. Quickly go through this and come out with points. Yes, Kabir.
Actually, government and people are interdependent because for the people, government frames policies,
Correct.
and people are bound to follow it.
Yes.
At times, there are also some negative policies. People replicate, and for this there are also positive changes they find.
Yes, Utkarsh. See, this question is in many ways similar to the previous question. So many points should be common points.
People's participation is the keystone in the democracy. Power. Second point is by the participation of people, we we have a better understanding of the ground reality of, and by the participation of people, we can create welfare state and inclusive growth, and we can generate self confidence and among the people.
Okay, I just quickly go through this. We are running short of time. This question understands the statement effectiveness of government system at various levels and people's participation in the governance system are interdependent. Means uh, the government make policy programs various things. So effectiveness of those policy programs or how the government system works that depends upon what to what level people participate in the governance system. This is you need to relate to each other. It says at various levels. What various levels? Union, state, local bodies, or people in general, government citizen interface in general. So also include this point as given in the statement itself. So how at union, how at state, how at local bodies. You find more participation in local bodies, right? Because their government is more close to the people directly. In PRIs, urban local bodies, right? But there is more, say, gap at union and state level, right? There is more gap of the people participation in the governance system at union state level, right? So you need to show the both things how effectiveness system depends upon this, right? This is what they want to say. Understand the relationship means how the people's participation will increase the effectiveness of the government system. तो वो बताना है हमें कैसे इंक्रीज करेगा क्यों इंक्रीज करेगा how it will increase. See, people participation first of all again at policy making level and policy implementation level. समझ रहे हैं कि भाई effectiveness of government system how it will work when the policy is good in itself and policy is implemented in good way. How the policy will be good in itself when there is policy inputs from the diverse section of society. Means again involvement of people participation through civil society, pressure groups, interest groups, or say from the directly people giving their inputs for any of the policy making. Then same way in the policy implementation, while implementing, it ensures fair play in the policy implementation, checks corruption, ensures accountability. Again the same example you can give RT and all, right? How draft national health policy, this and that. Feedback as well. For example, implementation is there, but there need of the improvement in the policy. How the government will realize only with the people's participation. They will give the feedback. कि भाई policy has certain drawbacks. It has certain lacunae. You need to improve it. So again, this people participation is improving the effectiveness of governance system. So need to establish the link relationship between people participation and effectiveness of government system with suitable examples. And this is what you need to require in this. Also mention at various levels, union level, state level, local bodies level. Even you can say, for example, how Lokpal was created. Lokpal bill was passed only because of people participation. They came out on the roads, pressurized the government, right? This is how people participation can improve the function of government even. So they give the policy inputs, feedbacks. Ultimately, this participation of people ensures people who govern they remain accountable to people who are governed. जो लोग शासन कर रहे हैं, they need to be accountable to whom? जिनके ऊपर वो शासन कर रहे हैं. ये कब possible है? When people they participate in the governance system. What else? It can help in mobilizing resources as well. By
Optimum use of
correct optimum use and even to mobilize resources. एक तो resources जितना है वो अच्छे से use हो. Secondly, resource भी mobilize हो. अगर लोग ही साथ नहीं देंगे किसी policy making implementation में, how you will mobilize the resources in the implementation part or say any other part?
and the philosophy
And-
of decentralization also.
Yes, correct. So give these points how 73rd 74th has brought local bodies and this has increased people's participation in governance. What I was trying to say, I was saying something and I skipped once you spoke in between. Yes, when people participate in say in the decision making or governance system, it improves the effectiveness of the government scheme and programs. Say how? बेटी बचाओ बेटी पढ़ाओ स्वच्छ भारत अभियान. Is it possible to be implemented effectively without participation of people? Not at all. The government cannot clean our cities and our surroundings. People, we ourselves have to do that, right? We need to keep our environment clean by ourselves. तो कैसे पॉसिबल है? पीपल पार्टिसिपेशन. बेटी बचाओ बेटी पढ़ाओ. भाई बेटियों को मार कौन रहा है? हम लोग ही मार रहे हैं, हम लोग ही नहीं पढ़ा रहे हैं. तो पीपल पार्टिसिपेशन, विदाउट पीपल पार्टिसिपेशन नॉट पॉसिबल at all for these kind of schemes to be implemented effectively. So the government system, if it needs to remain effective, people participation is must. So generate arguments, give examples, well and good. Yes, the point I was saying that once people they participate in the decision making, for example, involve people from the starting itself, in the policy making itself, right? What will happen? People will feel themselves involved in the decision making. There are more chances of the acceptability of the decision taken by the government. There are more chances of the scheme or the policy to be effective. Why? Because people they think they have taken the decision. Not the government is imposing themselves. So it is bottom up approach. भाई आप लोगों से पूछ के कोई काम किया जाए तब ज्यादा अच्छे से होगा. आपको बोल दिया भाई यही काम होना है. समझ पा रहे हो क्या कर रहे हैं? So when you involve people directly in the policy making, policy implementation, it is bound to be successful. It is bound to be effective. There are more chances of acceptability. There won't be any protest. Why there remain protests in the tribal areas and say against the development projects? Because people are not involved while deciding and deems to fail. It deems to protest and again obstruction of the projects as well. If the Gondaria Kon tribes would have been taken into the decision making in the Nyamgiri Hills, Vedanta caves, I'm saying, right? So if development projects they are made in a way that people whom would be affected, if they are taken into the decision making, there are more chances of its acceptability, more chances of its success. There can be so many numerous examples you can put in these kind of questions. So ultimately we need to make government citizen interface citizen friendly at all levels, whether it's union, state, local or any. Next question, Transparency International, Integrity Index of Transparency International, India stands very low. Discuss briefly the legal, political, social, cultural factors that have caused the decline of public morality in India. Sure. Quickly do this question. Yes, sure. बताइए कभी.
Socially, culturally, people, people give more importance to wealth, sir, rather than ethical point of view. Now, in our country, that is a next in political.
Discuss them separately: legal, political, social, cultural.
In politically,
You're saying political.
Social life completely. So that
Yes.
wealth is given more importance.
Okay, you are discussing first social factor.
Social factors.
Okay.
Mindset of the people is wealth they have given more importance. So people who are entering into government service, they are doing corrupt activities, and they are making people also to be corrupted.
Yes.
Social.
Correct.
In political, if you see, the elections are also first it is corrupted. Corrupted people are becoming the leaders.
Correct.
And they are making the whole system corrupt. So there is always a nexus between everything.
Correct.
And legal, if you see, the corrupt people are making some laws. At times it becomes enemy to people also, sir. And there are also loopholes which they are using to make the system somewhat corrupted.
I didn't get this point. Come again.
They're making laws which contain some.
Now saying legal factor.
Legal factors. They're making some laws.
Correct.
Which it is good only, but at the same time there are some loopholes.
Correct.
The loopholes are properly used by those people.
Correct.
For gaining money by using the business people.
Correct. Good.
So proper nexus is there.
Good.
So as a result, public also are losing faith in this system.
Very good points. Very good points. बताइए विभू.
Sir, basically with political money is needed for election. They are not under RTI, and further we can substantiate. Economic capitalism is there. With the coming of capitalism, goods are paid. Various type of goods are present in the market, and basically with social materialistic outlook has been developed in India, and also in India, people accumulate for future generations. And the cultural materialistic outlook and consumerism of the rise, legal lokpal is absent, Prevention of Corruption Act is lacking teens.
बहुत बढ़िया.
Under legal factors, I will list the Prevention of Corruption Act. Under
Prevention of
Corruption Act.
PCA, right?
Under POCA, if a public servant has to prosecute it, then the departmental permission is required.
Correct.
That the same is used to protect this provision was incorporated to protect the honest civil servant, but the same is used misused to protect the corrupt officers.
Good point.
And this is a legal factor. And the more CRPC is lying on the CRPC code has to be the same has been recommended the second ARC that the legal proceeding should be clear, it should be easy.
You're from PubEd option. It appears.
And the political factor, criminalization of politics. And second thing is criminalization of politics is the same funding that he has discussed all these factors, political factor. And so this has demoralized the public servants in administration. And the social factors are India as a society is a worshipper of society, is a worshipper of power, and is a power asymmetrical in our society in each and every level. That's why that demoralize the public servants. And the cultural factors are work culture is very restrictive in administration. Code of conduct, our code of conduct is very restrictive. They say what not to do, they didn't say what to do. That demoralize the public morality because very difficult to deal the new emerging situation.
बहुत अच्छा. And you people, you guys are very. You want to say something?
Public morality is related to the people or from government point of view or government officials, from which point of view we are faced?
The public morality in the people.
In the people. Yes.
And if the government is immoral, it will deteriorate the public morality as well. So, in any way you can take it. So, people have comprehensively covered various different points, and very in good way you have given your arguments. I will just cover what has not been taken, just some additional points, maybe certain overlapping points as well. In legal, you told like loopholes, right, in the laws that gives way for the rich and powerful to use that. So there are nebulous laws. Ask that person to keep that. There are nebulous laws. First one, loopholes are there. Ultimately, you told like loopholes right in the laws. Okay. Ultimately, these loopholes help the powerful people to use those laws in their own favor or against the common people. What it does, ultimately, people's faith deteriorates in the system. When people's faith deteriorates in the system, so it deteriorates the public morality as well. Secondly, nebulous laws, highly nebulous laws are there, right? So, red tapeism. Ultimately, nebulous laws it actually impedes the, you can say, economic development as well as impedes the effective policy implementation and making as well. So what will happen because of this? When economic development is reduced or say policy making is not effective, it will increase the inequality, poverty. Then it will result into what? Public morality will be degraded. There are still so many colonial laws, obsolete laws are still there. So the laws are so that rich and powerful are not deterred, but the poor are intimidated. In the political you discuss election, money and muscle power, they use it. So it deteriorates faith of the people and deteriorates public morality. There is power-centric attitude of the government, corruption, huge corruption is there, apathy towards people, there's an nexus between political and corporates. So it deteriorates faith, public faith and public morality. Social and cultural factor we discussed about work culture, attitude, how. Then we discussed about materialistic outlook, consumerism culture. So take these social and cultural factors as common because you cannot segregate social and cultural in a very compartment based. So you can club these together. What you can write in these? There is huge poverty, poor socioeconomic indicators, high inequality. So these are social factors, right? High inequality. So what will happen? People will feel we are so poor, they are so rich. And the reasons, it's visible in front of them. Right? Means the system is not functioning for them, it's not working for them. It's only creating gulf between rich and poor. It deteriorates public morality. And they resort to corrupt practices as well. The same is changing socio-cultural norms. So you can take example of this. With the LPG, the norms have changed. Earlier there was more about collective conscience or collective understanding, collective goals. Our system, our culture and social grooming had been the way that goes with the family norms, right? Now, so earlier time we focused about more as a collective goal for the family, for the village, and for the society as a whole. Now, as the globalization situation changing, norms are changing, we have become more materialistic. Now that norm has changed into more individualistic from the collective. And person become individual centric from collective centric. It deteriorates public morality. So in these lines you can discuss this question. Has the Indian governmental system responded adequately to the demands of LPG? Started in 1991. Okay, I will suggest because else it will take a lot of time. I was expecting like you guys would have attempted this question in advance. Then it would have been more easy for me and for you as well for the discussion. So you go back home, attempt the questions, then come to class, then it will be more fruitful discussion. So tomorrow we'll do paper 3. These remaining questions we'll discuss in the next week in class. So make sure you attempt all the 20 questions once you come for the next class tomorrow. Right? Thank you. Okay, just show you certain things. Just give me some time, 2-3 minutes more. Do you have any other class as well here? Okay, what's the time?
Was at 4:20.
Is the projector on? Huh?
Yes. It's yes. Yes, sir.
Okay, well, I'll just give you a look how the notes would be there. Okay, this is the application that we use for notes making, OneNote application. Okay. So, what actually happens? There are different sections here. You can see history, syllabus, internal security, energy, political governance, IR, agriculture. Then there are more of these sections that covers almost whole of your GS syllabus. In every section there are different pages. For example, we go to IR. Now in IR there will be different pages, say China, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Afghanistan, Nepal, like this. So click on China. So at one place you have each and every of your notes of China compiled here, right? So it will help you in a streamlined preparation. So from the last, say India, China, each and everything you'll find here, whatever has happened till now. Okay, and even in the highlighted manner, so that it helps you in a better revision way. In the first go, you need to read each and everything. Again, revise unless you remember. Then keep on reading the main key points. What's the importance of this? The importance you'll realize in the revision part. You'll realize, say, next mains is in October, right? So you'll realize this importance in the month of September when you're doing revision. In your printed notes, everything will be scattered. I tell you this thing. You won't be able to connect those things. Here, it is something in one go at one place, each and every of your notes. And it is easily accessible through laptop, through your mobile phone, across different devices. It will be there. Once we share our notes with you people, so when you do any of the updates, you get a notification in your mail, automatic notification, and real time it is. You go to it. First, you need to read each and everything. Then read the updates only. And when any updates happen, once you're revising the updates, revise whatever is above that as well. So that multiple revision. This is what is the key for this exam. Read less, revise more, and read same thing again and again, rather than reading from multiple things. Because we are already compiling these things from multiple sources. For example, I just give you on this polity and governance. We have one page NGO civil society. Now, these are various NGOs in this page. Just go through it. It will take some time in the first time once you do it, but then later on you'll just remember by name Pratham, Smile Foundation, Nanikali. These will be your tips. Why? Because it's in your phone as well. You are standing in the bank ATM line queue. Open your phone. Open your notes. Okay, just revise the civil society NGOs. Within the you are waiting for half an hour. Within half an hour you've done all the NGOs. You remember all of these. ठीक है सब दिया गया प्रथम दीपालय उदय हेल्पेज इंडिया हेल्पेज इंडिया एज वेल फाउंडेशन फॉर ओल्ड एज Once question old age question very prominent question it could come anytime in your GS paper on social issues part. So आपको पता है कि civil society has specific भी पता है हेल्पेज and एज वेल फाउंडेशन definitely it is going to make an imprint on the examiner's mind and will reflect in the marks. सेवा सफाई कर्मचारी आंदोलन ये बिजवाड़ा विल्सन who got award this year. People's Watch, Human Rights, Save Life Foundation, Daisy India, Enable Empower People. So this is how you need to make the preparation in a systematic manner. Don't scatter your preparation. Consolidate that. Revise that again and again. Okay, that's all for today's class. Tomorrow, ensure you attempt the paper in advance and then come for class. Thank you. So that's all for today's class. If you like our videos, you hit like, subscribe to our channel and comment on the comment section given below. You can ask the questions on the comment, as well as you can also mail to our email address for any further doubts. Thank you.